The bartender slipped me a note. Don't leave with her. So she walked into this little bar I was in, and she walked in, real smooth, like she was like a part of the band or something. Not too flashy, but just like present. Like when she walked into the room, the whole room just like stopped. Like you could just kind of feel a slight, silence, undertone, like people knew she was there. So she kind of walked up to me and she ordered me a drink, before I even introduced myself. And she said, I like your energy, So I'm like, okay. She told me my face looked like it told stories. So I kind of laughed it off, I'm like, okay, whatever that means. So then she reached and touched my birthmark and she whispered, I like the broken parts. I mean, I don't know what that means. Like, I'm glad I got a free drink and she looked good. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So we talking for like an hour, y'all. Like nothing deep, just like, little flirting, low tones, kind of vibes, kind of conversation that make you forget where you parked at. So then I got up to go order a second drink. So the bartender slid me a glass, but he slid me like a little napkin with the glass, but it was like kind of folded up. He ain't say nothing, he just kind of like nodded at me. I'm like, okay. So I unfolded it and I read it and it said, don't leave with her, you're not the first. I'm like, what? Not the first? I'm too faded for this. First of all, so I don't even know what you're talking about right now. So I'm like, okay, I guess. So I turned back and the bartender was gone. Like not in the back, not serving anymore. Like he was just gone. So I turned around to the table and she was gone too. And the drink was there though, and it's still like, dripping, like sweating on the table. So this lady comes from the back, whatever. She asked me, like, okay. And I'm like, I'm looking for my friend. And she was like, your friend. And we kind of going back and forth. And she was kind of looking at me like, she don't know what I'm talking about. So she was like, come look at this. She showed me the security camera and I was sitting there by myself all night. So if anybody knows me, they knows I'm not, look, y'all, I don't know what's going on. I still got the little note. Well, I had the note after the fact. I'm like, well, where did this note come from? So I don't know if they was in cahoots together. I don't know. Let me know something in the comments, chat.
Let's talk about something terrifying. If you're new here, hi. I usually talk about pretty scary stuff, and as many of you know, I have an email associated with this account where anyone who finds this page can send me their ghost stories. And let me tell you, I've gotten thousands of submissions. And when I say that these stories are some of the scariest that I've ever read, I truly mean that. Let's get into it. The person who sent me the story did not include whether or not they wanted to remain anonymous, so for obvious reasons, I'm going to keep them anonymous. Just to set the tone, the subject line of this entire email is my demonic experience. And just for context purposes, at the beginning of this email, this woman states that her father got really, really sick in 2020 and unfortunately passed away, which meant she stayed with her grandmother that following summer, mid-quarantine. That is an important piece of this whole story. About a week after her dad passed away, she was home alone trying to get some sleep. And right off the bat, she says that she had this overwhelming sense of someone watching her. And I feel like this wasn't the normal sensation of like, I feel someone watching me kind of thing, because she specifically states that she felt like she was getting in trouble or like somebody was mad at her. Now, this sensation was not going away, so she sits up and is staring at her closet door. And this is not just a normal closet door that is made of wood. She has one of the mirrored sliding closet doors. I will attach a photo now. So her doors look like this in her room. And as she's looking in this mirror, she can see someone standing on the other side of her bed. But when she looked over, there was no one there. So she just tries to go back to sleep. And as she's about to fall asleep, she hears her dad's voice in like a deep gargle say her name in the kitchen. So obviously, being super tired and not really understanding what's going on, she gets up and starts walking towards the kitchen. As she's walking through the hallway, she gets this overwhelming sense of nausea. And that's when the girl who sent me this kind of pauses in the hallway and trusts her gut and goes back into her room and locks the door. Crawls back in bed, starts scrolling on her phone to kind of calm herself down, and eventually she does fall asleep. But in her dream, she sees her dad in her dream, and he keeps repeating, "That is not me, that is not me," over and over and over. And by the time she wakes up, it is not only morning time, but the door that she locked before she crawled back in bed was unlocked and wide open. And the mirrored closet door was also open. And just a reminder, she's home alone. So she called her mom that morning and she left the same day. Now, all I'm going to say is this. I also have the sliding closet doors minus the mirrors. If I ever wake up and they are open, I would also leave. But anyways, that's gonna do it for me. Stay tuned for more ghost stories.
Story time on how I hung out with a football player who ended up worshiping the devil. Okay, so he came and picked me up from my friend's house. I was like, hello, like greeted him, whatever, it was normal. And I knew he was like a little bit of like a crash out. And his seat is all the way back and he's like sitting up, but his seat's all the way back. And I was like, is that really comfortable? And we start driving and it's like 5 minutes and I'm like, oh, like, do you not, it's silent. And I'm like, so like no music? And he was like, I just want to talk to you. So I was like, okay, that's like sweet, I guess. So we finally get to his apartment and he lives in like a place that used to be a church. That's what he told me. And like it, like my roommate's in here, like it used to be a church. So we get to his apartment and he parks in handicap. He has a handicap thing for some reason. And then we start walking inside. We had to take like 3 different elevators because the apartment is like set up really weird. And like to get to like where his apartment is, like we had to take, I think it was 2 or 3 separate elevators. When I first walked in, there were portraits of his dog everywhere and just like statues of his dog, and every picture was like of his dogs. And I was like, oh, you must love your dogs. So we're sitting on his couch and we're just like talking about random stuff. And I was like, can we like watch something or like listen to music? Like just like something, because it was like silent and it was like getting awkward. He goes, I don't have electricity. The lights are on. So I was like, what do you mean you don't have electricity? Like, the lights are on. And he was like, that's a toolbox right there. Like, I'm an electrician. So he starts telling me that he's an electrician, but the electricity isn't on. Like, just like weird stuff. And then I just kind of like, whatever. So he noticed my ring. Don't ignore my nail. He noticed my ring. And he was like, are you married? I was like, no, it's my grandma's. And then he disappears. He literally gets up and goes to his room. I was just sitting there like, what the heck, like, what's going on? And he comes back with a box of chains and necklaces and like all diamond gold jewelry you could think of, and then a checker, like I don't know what it's called, like it scans to see if the jewelry is weird, like real or not. And he, for like at least 15-20 minutes, he goes through all of his jewelry and shows me that it's all real. And I was like, okay. He like checks my stuff, like just like it's like weird. I don't know how to explain it. After like whatever, he was just like acting weird, being strange. And he went to the bathroom a few times. I don't really think of anything of it, but like every time he'd come back from the bathroom, he was like acting more and more weird. So we end up leaving. We're walking out, and this is like where it all went downhill. Like we're walking to the elevators and he just starts talking about like nuns. He was like, the nuns are gonna get us, like we're not safe from the nuns. And I was like, what nuns are you talking about? Like, what nuns are gonna get us? And also he like was not drunk. He doesn't like drink unless it's like he wasn't drunk that night. So I was like, what nuns are you talking about? So once we finally get to the first elevator, we're in the elevator and he just starts, like, I'm facing the other side. Like, I am not facing the door of the elevator. I'm standing in there scared because he's talking about how the nuns are gonna come get me. And he starts talking about like chambers, like that he built with the nuns. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, what do you mean the nuns are gonna come get me? So we're in the elevator. I'm facing the opposite way of the doors, like away from him, because I was just like scared. I don't even know. But he starts like hugging me. He's like, the nuns are gonna get us. And like his arms like around me. He's like, the nuns are gonna get us. And I was like, what nuns are you talking about? Like, they're like, what are you talking about? And I was just like, I was texting my friends. I was like, guys, like, there's something wrong with this man. He's talking about the nuns that he built under like this road that is by where he lives. Like, he's like, the nuns live under there and they built all these chambers and like, I'm gonna take you to the chambers. What? We get in his car and he's just talking about the nuns, like the nuns, like, will not shut up about these stupid nuns and chambers that he built. Then he starts talking about he beat Dahmer, like actually recorded a video of him saying all this, but I'm not gonna show it because like it's kind of like messed up. Like, I kind of feel bad for him, but my friend's watching the video right now, so I can say what else he said. Okay, I just read back some of the texts I sent my friend, and so he also, like, there was just some weird things he was saying to me, like, when I first went there, and he was just like, I'm gonna dye my hair maroon, and I was like, oh, why maroon? And he just wouldn't tell me. He was just like, maroon, like, he just kept saying maroon, and then he was like, I told him I just got my hair done. He, like, kept playing with my hair and, like, touching my hair, and I was like, bro, like, just acting, like, strange. And then he was like, you need to paint your nails lime green. And I told him I, like, didn't like the color purple or something, and he got, like, really offended and really mad at me. He was dropping me off at my dorm, and he was like, I'd never told anyone this. And I was like, it can't get much worse than this. Like, what? He was like, I see people. I have an imaginary friend. And I was, like, in my head, like, I was like, he's trolling, whatever. He's like, I've never told anyone this. Like, I feel like I can tell you this. So, obviously, I go, oh, I have an imaginary friend, too. Her name's Sharkista. And he was like, oh, my God, no way. And he starts telling me about his imaginary friend and how, I'm not going to say his imaginary friend name, but he just told me that, like, they built the chambers together, and there's, like, 4 different locations, so it's more convenient when they take people to the chambers. I took a video of, like, his voice, because he was not talking normally. He was talking, like, high pitch, like, not, like, people that know his voice, he was not talking in a normal voice. So I was, like, taking videos, because I was scared. He was just like, I'll take him down to the chambers, and, like, all this stuff about how he, like, the nuns work for him, like, the nuns where he lived, they work for him. And, like, he helped them build the chambers, like, 50 years ago. He's not even 23, so I don't know what he's talking about. Like, everyone knows him as, like, a crash out. Like, everyone knows he's a little crazy. But, how I found out he, like, worships the devil. So after this whole thing happened, my friend were, like, kind of, like, stalking his Instagram. And he had some posts put up, like, that were literally pictures of demons. And all the comments, like, bro, like, this is too far, like, you sold your soul. Every single comment, it has, like, thousands and thousands of comments on this one picture, and it's just like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, you need help, you need Jesus. And also, like, on his body, like, his tattoos, some of them are literally, like, 666, like, demons, like, all over his body. And, like, we were kind of talking to some people on the team, we were like, is this normal? They were like, we believe it, but, like, we've never, like, seen him crash out that bad, or, like, start making up stories about how he built chambers and how, like, he's with all the nuns underneath the roads.
Hey TikTok, so this is like a little story time. Well, it's not a story time, it happened today. This is how I found out my house was haunted. It was a funeral home. They had bodies in the basement being embobbled. So let's just get into it. So someone sent me this post on Facebook this morning that a girl posted about this house that we stay in, because she drove past the house and stuff like that. And so, yeah, she was understanding how she used to stay here with her family a few years back, and they used to hear, like, people, like, saying hey, and like, just like, it's smelling like breakfast in the kitchen, and no one is in there cooking. And her grandmother said it was, like, cold and stuff like that. So, yeah. But all of that happened. It's got, like, millions of views on her page. And there are other people who are coming out and saying, like, they had the same experiences in this same house. But I didn't really think nothing of it, because it's, like, it's pieced together. It didn't all happen at once. It was just, like, stuff that, okay, some happened this day. Months later, something else happens, but it wasn't as bizarre as the stuff that they went through. So, yeah. And they had a pastor to, like, bless the house and stuff like that, but after the pastor blessed the house, it got worse, like, so much worse, they said. Also, she was like, her grandmother almost had, like, a asthma attack, because her grandma has bad asthma. So she was like, her grandma was screaming because something grabbed her foot, and that happened, and they had to call 911 and all of that. Like, she nearly almost had a panic attack, but, like, this happened, like, all this morning. And there's so many people on Facebook, like, talking about it and all of that. And it's so weird, because it's so crazy to me, because it's crazy as fuck, because I stay in the house now. And it's like,